Hey guys, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to some new digs. I mentioned this in the info section of the last few videos, but I'm actually in the middle of a move. That's why my videos were a little spotty, not this week, but the week before that. So I'm hoping to get back to a regular filming and posting schedule, but don't get too used to this background because we're still currently in transition. This is definitely going to change, but still very exciting. And in case I sound a little nasally, currently getting over a cold as well, but we are on the upswing. So this video is actually going to be a haul, and normally I like to include kind of full-blown reviews and swatches and all that kind of stuff with my hauls, but because I am in the state that I am in, I haven't had time to do full-blown reviews. So this is going to be more of a first impressions video. If you like the format, however this winds up, I did a tutorial beforehand, so I'm going to put some inset shots here where you can actually see the products in use at the least. But if you like this kind of format, let me know. I have some other stuff that I've gotten like in my mailbox from brands that I thought about doing kind of a what's in my mailbox sort of haul. Let me know, because I could definitely do that as well. In the meantime, let's get into it. I did some shopping at Walmart, mostly Walmart, but a little bit of Target, so they're those kind of exclusive brands, Hard Candy, some Flower Cosmetics, and Sonia Kashuk. So I'm going to share quite a few products actually from those brands. Got a lot to go over, so let's get started. So I think it might be easiest to go in order of use, so I'm going to start with primers. I don't think these are new, but they are certainly new to me. I'm kind of way behind on Hard Candy's latest launches. It wasn't until I kind of committed to seeing what was new from them because of some really recent launches that I had to do a little bit of backtracking. So I picked up two of their primers. One is the Shimmer Shadow Primer, which I am currently wearing now, and you'll see me demo in this tutorial sort of thing, and the other is just the regular eyeshadow primer. The reason I tried the shimmer is because it is so different. I can kind of guess what the regular one is going to be like. It's going to give a pretty matte base. It's going to be very neutral. It's going to just kind of neutralize your eye palette to prepare it for whatever shadows you put on top of it. The shimmer, not so much. I was kind of surprised to see that it's definitely not a fine shimmer. There are some larger glitter particles in there. I hope you can see that from the close-up shot I give you here. So it dries down really nicely, gives you a little bit of time to work before it finally starts becoming tacky and then ultimately drying down. So it really does act as kind of a tackier texture to adhere your eyeshadow to, but ultimately it does dry down. This might be, or both of these might need to be products that I do full-blown reviews of, or maybe include them in a beauty Q&A in the future, because lasting power, lasting time is such a key part of any primer. So because I just applied them and I can only give you what I feel like they look like and how they perform now, I really think I need to give you an update. As of right now though, I really like the way these perform. They're not opaque. I know a lot of you guys have been asking me for affordable opaque bases. These are not them. They definitely even out your skin tone a little bit, but I don't know if you can see, probably not on my hand. I just put some on my hand there, and you can still see, like, you know, I have pretty thin translucent almost skin on the back of my hands, and you can still see right through that. So not quite opaque, but definitely gives you a nice affordable sticky base if that's what you're going for from the drugstore or drugstore equivalent. Next, let's talk about the first shadows I applied, also from Hard Candy. This came in a duo. They are the Fierce Effects High Intensity eyeshadows in the duo Soft and Sultry. The one I applied first, is a mix of metallic gold and silver. That's kind of why I picked this duo in particular, is because they mixed a cool and a warm. Ultimately, it came off as sort of the middle of the road bronzy sort of look. There really is no way to isolate them, so unfortunately, while you can see both in the pan, it's one of those pressed powders, kind of like the L'Oreal Infallible powders. You can't really isolate them, you have to mix them together, and this is the shade on my lid that you get. Very, very beautiful and highly pigmented. If you really want to up the pigmentation, you should apply with your finger. That is what I ended up doing. I actually, to apply these, used some brushes that I got from Walmart. They're part of the Essential Tools brush brand, which I think I'm going to save for an entirely separate video, but I did use one of those brushes to apply them and found that you could just apply them with your finger to really maximize the pigmentation, and it's true. That's what I did right along the center of the lid to really make it pop. Then I placed this olive green, which is kind of a similar situation to the first one, where it's a mix of olive and silver, to my outer corner, and it too really sheared out when I used a fluffier brush to apply, but I think you could use a flat shader to build up that pigmentation, because both of these are super pigmented when swatched and very smooth and creamy, kind of like you would expect to from that sort of pressed pigment formula. In between those two, however, I did apply some matte shadows to the crease because I felt like I needed that transition from that super shimmery, sparkly that was amplified then by the primer I used. So I went in with a new matte palette that I picked up from Sonia Kashuk. I am late to this party. I definitely know this is not new. This is the Eye on Neutral Matte 02 palette, and there are 12 shades in here. Great mix of neutrals, everything from light creams, camels, red leaning bricky brown, deep cooler chocolate browns, grays, blacks, you name it, it's there. It's kind of your essential go-to matte palette, and it's affordable. It's Target, Sonia Kashuk, so it's a little bit more expensive than your average drugstore palette, but it's still not, you know, Sephora Urban Decay expensive. So I'm really happy to say that I'm very impressed with the consistency of these shadows. All of them are really nice and pigmented. I would have liked to see a little bit more variety, understanding, however, that it wouldn't really stay a neutral palette in that case, but like I do feel some of these lighter cream shades are redundant, some of these brown shades are redundant, but more or less, it's a really great palette. And before I use this, I had to decide whether or not I wanted to use this, a palette that I had already picked up but used beforehand to know it was good, or this one from Hard Candy, which I have not yet tried. Someone recently, it's an old video I did of the green, looks very similar to this from Hard Candy, but it's green on the outside. I did a review of that way back. Someone commented on that video very recently asking if I had reviewed any of the others. Obviously I hadn't, so I went ahead and picked another one up. This is the Top 10 Trendsetters eyeshadow collection in Birthday Suit. It's an entirely matte palette, and I have yet to dip my finger in here. Just at first swatch, I have to say I'm pretty impressed with the pigmentation here. You can see that's the navy blue. Compared to the Sonia Kashuk that I picked up, this is an overall cooler palette. You can see there is that pop of blue, so you do have something a little bit beyond neutral, but for the most part they are cooler taupes and grays. There's kind of, it's like a fake warm brown, and by that I guess I mean it's warm relative to the rest of the shades, but it's still overwhelmingly a cooler brown shade here. I think I'll end up having to do an entirely separate video on this because, like I said, I'm just now dipping into it, but first impressions, which is, I have to remind myself what this video is, this is a really nice palette. So now on to liner. This is actually something that I know I like because I didn't buy these two together. These are both from Hard Candy. They are the Streak of Gorgeous Ultra Fine Tip Precision, wait, what? No. They are the 12-hour smudge-proof felt tip eyeliners, and the story is that I bought this teal one first, used it, could not believe how impeccably it stayed all day. These have a super tapered fine felt tip. It's not super harsh and scratchy, which can sometimes be the case with felt tips. Not the case with these, but I love the way the teal performs, so I bought the kind of bronzy brown that I'm wearing right now as sort of a cat eye. So as you can see with the demo, it doesn't take a lot of layering up, which brown liquid liners sometimes can to reach maximum opacity and intensity. Not the case with this. Really happy to say that both of these performed equally as well, and they're really affordable. I don't think they were more than $5 or $6, so that is really good. Moving on to brows, like I said, I picked up a lot from Hard Candy. This is the Brows Now Brow Fiber Gel and Highlighter, dual-ended sort of deal like this. On the one end you have the highlighter. I use that just beneath my brows to add that pop and bring my brow bone forward, and then on the other end you have, this is what I wanted the Maybelline brow product to be, but it just wasn't. So this is like a standard pigmented brow gel, so it matches the shade of your brows, but it also has fibers in it, so it helps thicken your natural brows. And look at this tiny brush. This is the kind of brush I'm talking about. This is what I need, or anyone needs. Even though I have naturally thicker brows, I still find that I need a smaller, more precise brush to really get, especially here on the tapered outer corner of my brow. So I can imagine anyone with thinner brows would need the same. And that's what the Maybelline brow deal didn't give me, whereas this does. So I'm really impressed with the way this applied. I have the shade medium dark. I might have gone to the next lightest shade, but I didn't actually see it on the rack, or maybe the next lightest shade was blonde, which is why I defaulted darker than lighter. This doesn't quite match the brow color that I typically use, but on a day when I'm in a rush and I want some definition, but I don't want to go full-blown line and fill, this is a great, easy to apply product. Again though, this might be another product that I have to do a follow-up video on because it's one of those things you don't want your brows running down your face. So the way this wears throughout the day is going to be a big tell as to whether or not it's a total recommended product, but first impressions, I really like it. Now let's finish off with the cheeks. The first product that I used is the Wet n Wild Color Icon contouring palette. Was so happy to finally find this because I'd seen people posting that they'd seen it in store and I hadn't yet, so finally found it at Walmart. The one right off the bat, this was the only shade they have. I'm not sure if this is the only shade they make, which is Caramel Toffee, but it's going to be severely limiting to those with like medium deep skin tones. It's very light, and it might not look as light as you think in the pan here, but actually on, I don't know if you can see, it comes off very, very light. It's somewhat buildable, but medium to deep skin tones might not find a whole lot of use for this. If you think this will match your skin tone, however, I really like the way it performed. It feels a little bit powdery when you swatch it, but when you apply it, it goes on nice and smoothly. It's really easy to blend. It's cooler leaning for those of you that find everybody else has super warm contours. This is your cool solution. But I don't really like this highlight. It's kind of more of a setting powder for me. It's a matte highlight. It's not shimmery. I tend to prefer shimmery highlights, but even if you want that matte highlight, there's not a lot of pigmentation to it. So I prefer to use this as more of a setting powder, which isn't bad, but if you think you're getting both a contour and a highlight in one palette, you might not be. Still though, it is affordable, and so insofar as you want that cooler contour, this might be the way to go. Next up is the blush. I drooled over this blush. It's the Hard Candy Glow All the Way Ombre Baked Blush in Sunburst. I saw Emily Noel review this and knew I had to get it. Obviously, I'm very impressed with it. It's obviously all shimmery though, so if you are a matte cheek color lover, not for you, but you get kind of 3 looks in one. You can go all the way bright, kind of orchidy pink, or all the way pure highlight shimmer over here, or swirl it all together and get a little something in between for a highlight cheek color in one. Goes on beautifully, very smoothly. But if you are scared of shimmer, or you don't like shimmer, you're scared this is going to be too shimmery for you, I really wouldn't worry about it, because I applied this, thought it looked beautiful, but I could use some more shimmer. So I actually then went in with a Sonia Kashuk Chic Luminosity highlighter stick in the shade Sparkling Sands, and I actually applied this on top of that, on my cheekbones, down the bridge of my nose, my cupid's bow, you know the drill, and was also very impressed with this. Now keep in mind, this is a cream product. Applied it over all that powder I have going on my face, and it didn't disturb it at all. It laid really nicely and evenly. Look at that. I feel like that's a great, looks great in the viewfinder. I'm really impressed with the way this looks. So, and you can see here, I mean, it's one of those automatic, you just roll it up, roll it down. It's a nice size too. It's not too big, kind of like, I feel like the NARS multiples are verge on too big, where you can apply too much product too easily. This is a really nice size. If it's squarely on top of your cheekbones, right down the bridge of your nose, you really don't have to worry about getting too much on there, which is nice. Yet it's still creamy. It's not like it's a stick that's going to kind of tug at your skin. Very smooth and creamy, yet doesn't apply too much, which is really easy to do, especially with a highlighter. So I think that's it. I think at the beginning of the video I said I was going to talk about Flower Beauty. I did have Flower Beauty products, but I guess I didn't end up using them in this sort of look slash haul that I did, so maybe I'll do a separate video on that, or individual reviews of those products, but know that I have them and can definitely talk about them. And in the meantime, I just hope you enjoyed this video format. Like I said, let me know. Either give it a thumbs up or let me know in the comments. However you gotta do it. Definitely do it though, so that I can create more in the future if you like them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.